try to unmute Robert. Sorry, I think we had Harriet, just help us mute, please. You were coming through. Robert, we seem to have lost you there. Please, are you back now?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, you made backtrack for about 2 minutes. So we got a bit of a problem there.
Okay, yeah. Apologies for the breakdown in the internet, I think. So I was looking at the value chain maps, and then the main actors in the honey value chain. The first one I was talking about the input suppliers. I'm looking at production, beehives, bee suits, smokers, hive tool, bee brush. There's still an enormous opportunity there. Like, for example, in northern Uganda here, there are about only 2 companies who is making this. So somebody had to travel from Arua to Lera to buy a bee suit, or travel from Lera to Arua to buy a bee suit. So we still need many people to come and then seize up the opportunity in input supplies. The NGOs, the government, they really want people to supply communities with beehive and these other kids. So sometimes you see companies from maybe Lera supplying equipment in Kampala, Lera supplying Barara. So I think it's up to people within Barara, Kampala to seize this kind of opportunity. The other equipment for possible trading is buckets, tongue, and then for value addition, the jars I'm talking about, the bottles, the glass bottles, the tongue. So there's still big opportunity here. Then the other one is the beekeepers. There's low production, quality, the volumes. We cannot even meet the local demand. Now the season is ending, the first season. You'll find local products. Basically, after about a month, you find no local products, local honey in the supermarket. You'll find imported honey. So I think there's also enormous opportunity in production. The beekeepers are subsistent. Very few are motivated. Very few wants to do it as a business. There's also, I think, a big gap there in terms of capacity building for the farmers. Most of the farmers are doing this as an hobby. And very few hives, maybe less than 10 or 15 hives. And for me, I look at somebody to start this as a commercial producer of honey should start with a minimum of 20 beehives. 20 beehives, if all colonized, but I think the colonization is about 80%. So then that's about 18 hives colonized. And then each can give you a minimum of 10 kilograms of honey. So then you have about 180 kilograms of honey. And each kilogram is giving you about 10,000 if you're not adding value. So that's about 1.8 million on your first harvest. And you have invested like 20 hives, that's about 2 million. And on your first harvest, you're already getting about 1.8 million. That means the second harvest, the collection is going to be 100%. And the yield probably is going to increase to 15 kilograms of honey per hive. So then this will actually increase on the margin. So there's a big gap there. Then the other thing is bulking. Processors. Most processors cannot bulk. We have small size companies, small and medium companies. Their capacity is low. But I think we need these companies to upgrade, other companies to come, and then we can bulk. Probably you could bulk, like sometimes Wimrob can bulk like 50 metric tons of honey. And then we do bulk sales to other companies who can repackage. So if we have like maybe 10 companies who can bulk 50 metric tons each, this could actually make us visible on the Ugandan market, on the domestic market. Then transporters. And actually some of the transporters, they double as traders because they're involved in probably daily routine movement, and then they're able to meet farmers in trading centers. And and buy. So I think there's also still a big gap with improvement in infrastructures now. I think transportation, specifically design transport system to transport honey. There's also a big opportunity there. Then processors. We have about 20 companies, which I know, which are doing processing, but I think this is still on a low end. This is still on a low end. We need many people to come and then seize this opportunity. Then wholesalers, retailers, consumers, there are places where they need to go to maybe Kampala to buy honey from supermarkets. There are people who need to travel, maybe if you're in Lira, there are people who need to travel from Dokolo to come and buy honey in Lira. So I think being an agent of a retailer or a wholesale, which is not there, like probably if you could do a big shop, honey shop in Kampala, the city center, you could probably access a lot of clients because not everybody could walk to a supermarket. So, and then if it's known this is a honey shop with very good quality honey, there's opportunity there. So basically, the honey value chain is still relatively unstructured, with majority of the players being micro and then small players at production and trade level. However, the value chain is relatively integrated with a number of producers engaged as own processors. You see, there are farmers with 50 hives. Maybe they have got support from NGOs. They want to add value. Eventually, they harvest maybe 100 kilograms. They process, they pack, they sell once, and then probably they are selling this for a period of 1 month. The cost of operation, the cost of sales, they are not recording it, and they are also feeling proud that they're adding value. I think we need to leave issues of adding value to big companies who are able to do that. For people who want to produce, they need to produce. For people who want to do marketing, they need to do marketing. If people want to do processing like that. So I think that could be a better way of seeing that the sector is growing. However, supplying to retailers and then final consumers is also a gap. There's a gap there. And like I said, honey producers are still producing very low potential, mostly rudimentary traditional methods. Like I said, most farmers have got a local hive. So people are trying to invest into a more technological hive like the KTB, the Langstroth. So I think this will also bring in the role of middlemen. Actually, the role of middlemen is relatively weak because most producers either process the honey or deliver directly to the bigger processors. But like when you look at Arua, for example, the people controlling the honey value chain in Arua are middlemen. So every morning, vehicles are coming from Congo, South Sudan, loaded with honey. The middlemen, they have money at hand. So they will buy, they will pack, they'll store it, and then they'll sell to Lira, Kampala, Bale, where. So I see the role of middlemen as also critical for now that the sector is not yet structured well. And the biggest shortfall in the honey value chain are poor quality of honey and insufficient volumes. Poor quality of honey and insufficient volumes. There are people who doesn't know quality honey. They just buy anything called honey. But I think also we need a lot of awareness question. Probably doing a hub or a website-based kind of a business that create awareness on quality honey, and then engaging the public to test honeys from different regions. And then honey input sector is underdeveloped with the existence of only about 3 companies supplying packaging jars. The one in Luzera is called Nice House of Plastic, and then Bespa in Matoga. So these are the only 2 companies. So and sometimes when you go you don't get the packaging you want. So there are other opportunity. This is an opportunity for new investment, actually. Yeah. And then, like I was talking about the types of beehives in the market, the traditional hive, the KTB hive, and the Langstroth, there's limited provision of after-sale services. This is actually a big gap. There's no after-sale services from the guys who are doing beekeeping equipment. And I think to be smart, if you can start this and then you do the after-sale service and an extension by the input suppliers, you can never go wrong. Then, honey is used in the household as a preferred sweetener in beverages, second only to sugar, especially for diabetics. And is also consumed in its raw form as honeycombs, or sprayed on toast, or it's also used for brewing liquor and wine, like we are making honey wine. There's opportunity there. I can see there's 0.7 honey for people who do whiskey. Yeah, so I think this kind of opportunity is still enormous. Maybe you do honey juice. So then the other thing is regarding temporary employment at the trading stage of honey. This is dominated by women. Like when you go to Arua, for example, you find most women are involved in trading of the honey. So maybe out of 4, you find three men and then one woman. So raw honey flows through different channels to reach the final consumers, like individuals, institutions, and then hotels. So there are people who sell to hotels, people to take with tea, maybe some people supply to institutions and individuals. So basically, if I come to summarize, there are issues of policy and institutional issues, which probably I could touch a little bit, and then potential for establishing formal business linkages. So the biggest challenge facing the honey value chain, high rates of side selling. Like if your model is smallholder farmers model like mine, they are side selling, and farmers are impatient when they harvest honey now. They want to get money now, even if they get at low price. And then limited supplies, high transaction costs, and time associated with operating contract smallholder farmers. For those not engaged in formal contract, then eventually you end up getting poor quality honey. And then you'll be limited not to sell to the best market. So the National Apiculture Policy is providing a framework for development of the honey subsector in Uganda, with an aim of promoting and supporting production of honey and other bee products. So I think also we have a policy which is in place, but I think the parliament need to pass the policy on apiary. So I think there's still big work to be done there on policy issue. And then on the policy issue is still further stimulate the implementation of standard and regulation. I know UNBS is doing quite a lot for providing a QMark to people who are into honey and other products. And I think also they're coming up with other standard for propolis, beeswax, bee venom powder. And then the Uganda National Agriculture Development Association TUNADO was also established. I think it's about 12, 13 years old, to see how to stimulate the production. And then also export markets, particularly the European Union, United States of America, Japan, Canada, South Africa have their own quality standard for honey and bee products, which become relevant to Uganda. Actually, Uganda is one of the countries which is allowed to export to EU. So, but we cannot export because the production is low, quality production actually. So basically, I want to see top strength of the honey value chain, and then also few opportunities still that I'm going to add. I'm going to do a SWOT analysis for the honey value chain with my own experience. I know the sector is prioritized by government and is already supported through its national apiculture policy and then the national apiculture export strategy. So I think this is a big strength in the honey value chain. Then there's also considerable level of value chain integration with a good number of producers integrating into processing. This presents opportunity to upgrade the chain. And you know, honey as a social acceptance, as food and medicine. So I think that's make it, then the chain actors are willing to strengthen their existing linkages and then engage in new formal agreement to boost supply, like smallholder farmers contract, and then availability of tested and relatively affordable improved beehive and practices. Now, I think with this kind of platform, people are going to be inspired to probably go into one of the value chain. Then the big opportunity I see is the high demand in domestic and export market. Big demand, honey is consumed. Actually, when the COVID pandemic came up, the demand for honey doubled everywhere because it's immune boosting. So the demand for honey has doubled everywhere. I don't know what will happen this year. Probably people are going to run out of honey. If you move everywhere, you see shops with honey, people are consuming honey. Every household has honey. Then diversified business development into the apiary. Like for example, beeswax is a big thing now. Actually, one of the guys who export beeswax. Then there's propolis, crude propolis. Initially, people have been looking at only honey, but honey now so far is the lowest paid product compared to beeswax, to bee venom, to pollen. And then the other opportunity I see is there's a lot of issues on abscondment of colonies. I mean, the bees enter the hive and then leaves, and then most hives are empty. So there's big opportunity there to start selling colonies. Maybe you start rearing bees for sales to people who are making, who wants to go into the sector, because sometimes you put your hive, you take a period of maybe 8 months, 1 year, and bees are not colonizing. So opportunity is there for somebody to start breeding the bees for sale. And probably if you are in equipment manufacturing, you make your hive together, you sell the hive together with the bees. So I see a big opportunity there. And then, like I said, beehive production. People are trying to understand that they need to get better technologies, better beehive, and then better quality. So beehive production is still big on the value chain. And then there's high employment opportunities along the value chain. For example, people who are doing production, people who are doing equipment manufacturing, people who are doing trading, marketing and sales, people in the regulation, the service providers, the microfinance, the banks, they're giving loans. They're giving loans. So there's big opportunities here for people to get employed in the honey value sector, value chain. And then if I come to summarize, I also noted some few challenges in the sector, in the value chain, like one, lack of testing and then quality control facilities. Sometimes you have to take to UNBS. UNBS is busy with almost all the products in Uganda. So maybe if you needed your results to come maybe after a month or two, you'll wait for 6, 7 months for your results to come. And if you have an order, so then you delayed and then eventually you can't supply. Then inadequate market infrastructure. The market is there, like for example, the supermarkets. You will supply them, they will say, okay, we're going to pay you after 30 days, but you need to pay farmers cash. You need other cost of operations to go. Why is it that the supermarkets are paying other products cash on delivery and honey after 30 days? So I think there's also weakness there. And then lack of access to financial services, especially at production level. Most institutions, banks, and then they're not willing to give money to farmers to buy hive. They're willing to give money probably at the high end of people who are doing value addition. So, but then the people doing value addition, the companies doing value addition are going to have challenges because they're going to be low production. So I think the best thing the bank could do is to stimulate production, give farmers beehives on loan, and then the farmers produce and so lack of access to financial services. I think also some of the banks, they don't understand the honey value chain well. So that's making it hard for them. And then the other weakness, the other gap I've seen is lack of knowledge about the bee colony, the diseases and pests, and then how to control, how to set up the apiary. So there's a big gap there. Most people identify a wrong place. Eventually the bees will not colonize, and eventually you're disappointed. So I think it's good for us to get people who understand the environment for beekeeping well, and then you engage them so that you can get the things right. Then there are also challenges I've seen, especially in Arua and then other places, the dominancy of middlemen, and the profit they are getting is more than what the farmers are getting. And for us to grow the sector, I think the involvement of the middlemen should be limited. That's my thinking with my experience. And then there's a large number of farmers who wants to be retailers, who want to present themselves as producers. They may be having 50 hive. Like I said earlier, they want to process this 50. They want to sell it as a branded product. Eventually, they'll have to wait for another season to come to do the same. Why do you have to waste time? You produce, sell to somebody who can do value addition, and then you remain a producer. Then basically, I think I could summarize with my proposed short-term intervention. Like the first intervention should concentrate on strengthening the existing linkages between producers, processors, and traders, as well as building new sustainable link with the aim of boosting quantities supplied as well as adherence to quality standard. 2, building the capacity of producers to efficiently manage their businesses, their apiaries. This should be carried out through training in business skills. I'm proud that Enterprise Uganda is supporting a lot of entrepreneurs to do this kind of training, including myself. So I think this is a good move. And then linking actors to appropriate providers of finance. Now, I think UDB has come up, Uganda Development Bank Limited has come up to support the farmers, to strengthen the linkages between the farmers and then the SMEs. And then formation of group to ease access to asset. Most farmers are having challenges because maybe they are alone, they cannot access support in terms of training and all this. So I think it's important as a short term for farmers to get organized in groups. Then what I see as a medium term intervention is issues of market symmetry and competition. And can only be created by ensuring accurate information when needed, and then adherence to the same quality standard. And my long-term intervention that I feel it can promote the sector is there's need to change the perception of producers to see beekeeping as a source of income and employment. For this enterprise to thrive, Conservation of environmental resources has to be given priority, including reforestation, conserving water resources, and minimizing pollution. This will call for a strategy to collaborate with National Environment Management Authority, National Forestry Authority, among other government departments, as well as development agencies like United Nations Environment Program, and then UNDP. So thank you so much for listening. I get back to Ronald.
Great. Thanks a lot, Robert, for that that detailed engagement on this subject. It was such an eye-opening engagement, and also it kind of widened our view of this business. I think many of us might have a very narrow view of the business. It's nice that we see how wide it can be and where the opportunities can actually be found. I think I'll open it up to questions. If you have a question, please don't hesitate to put up your hand, and then I can be able to give you a chance to ask your question. If you want to put it in the chat room, the same is true. We have a question here from Dennis. Dennis asks, how do you differentiate pure honey from fake one? And does honey have any side effects on life? Those are two questions from Dennis. Thank you, Dennis, for those questions. Damasco, you have your hand up. You can unmute and then ask your question.
Wow, thank you, team. Thank you, everyone, for really giving us this insightful session. For me, I want to appreciate the trainer for today, and you, of course, Ronald, for organizing this. But basically, what I wanted to maybe to tell the team and the trainer, I don't know how it came to my mind. It was 2 weeks back when I thought about starting the honey business, the beekeeping. And indeed, opportunities are coming at the right time. So I was looking at having a large plantation of, I think, this chance to have my beehives installed everywhere in the plant, in the plantation. So in my profession, I'm an electrical engineer, but running a company, Foco Engineering. But of course, I have passion in farming. So that's the reason why actually I was so interested in joining this kind of trainings. So my dear question to the trainer today is, it was about the funding. As he was teaching us, he told us that farmers are still growing on a subsistence level, but of course we need to put it to another level of commercialization. So my basic question was whether there was support from, say, government, because we've seen government supporting other agricultural productions, like in coffee, like in tea, and some other ventures. So I don't know whether the government has got any interest also in supporting this, because honey, from the explanations they have given us, it actually has a wide application. And I know it earns a lot of revenue then now for the government. So is there a way that we have some other organized groups that are really steering this kind of honey production in Uganda? And then how do we fight for the better prices? Do we base on the forces of demand and supply, or is some organized group that basically oversees this? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Damasco. Emmanuel, you can have a go.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm Emmanuel Ochen. I'm from the northern part of Uganda. Thank you so much, Robert, for the powerful ask, so that I can get clarification to set up, in case someone is just time to set up the beehives, and what is the expected, okay, what is the guarantee that the beehives will be colonized? That is one of the questions. Then a friend told me a few weeks back that honey grown under eucalyptus and pines fetch more market price? I wanted clarification on that. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Emmanuel. Those are clear questions. I hope you have captured them, Robert. There is another one from James. James is asking, what is the shelf life of honey? Robert, you can take those and then we'll have another round.
Okay, thank you, everybody, for your questions. The first one, how do you differentiate pure honey from the fake one? Two things, actually three. One, observation. Two, when you observe, you see and then you smell. The smell is normally with something like it's adulterated. Then when you are pouring it or you are turning it from the bottle, the fake one is sometimes very light. It's watery. But the good one, when you turn it or you pour it down, you find it very thick, very thick. Then finally, it's technical one. The moisture content should be below 20%. The moisture content is the level of water in the honey should be below 20%. So if it's high, above 20%, then it means it's adulterated. Probably during harvesting, post-harvest handling and storage, that's normally where the honey gets adulterated. But honey inside the hive is good quality. When people start harvesting the honey and then harvesting, post-harvest handling and storage, that's where the adulteration comes. Like in other households, you find the honey is harvested, put in the house, the children is pushing their hand in it, everybody's pushing their hand, their dirty hands. So that's bring adulteration. And then maybe I'll answer with the Emma's question, the shelf life of honey. Good quality honey will not get bad. If it's a good quality honey, will never go bad. Like let me give you a brief history about the Egyptian pharaohs, the Egyptian kings. Some of them were buried with honey and they never rot. So honey is a natural preservative. So if well handled, can last maybe 30, 40 years. So will not run bad. Then funding opportunities. I think the government is trying through Ministry of Agriculture, especially for communities in groups, support them with beehives, training, and then other NGOs as well. But also I'm happy that there are banks which are trying to understand apiculture, like Equity Bank, Centenary Bank, and then Housing Finance Bank. They are trying to understand the sector and they are willing to put money to give loan to people who are interested in venturing into apiculture. Yeah, we have a very good organized team, a sector, an apex body called TUNADO, the Uganda Apiculture Development Organization. TUNADO is the apex body which is overseen by the government and Ministry of Agriculture, which is making sure that the sector has developed to another level, and it's a member base. So probably you'll have to get the contact for TUNADO, and then you can become a member. You'll learn from the members. They have about 300 members who are companies in the whole country, and TUNADO is a national apex body. So you'll be able to reach them everywhere you are. You'll be able to reach TUNADO. And they're actually currently building their own home, TUNADO home. I think when it gets done, I think this will stimulate the growth in the sector. And then the motivation will be there. And then I think the policy also is coming up, because we still don't have a policy in apiculture, in apiary. So when the policy comes up, I think the sector is going to improve. And then how do we fight for better prices? I think Uganda is a free market economy, which is very hard for me to answer this. It's a free market economy, and I think issues of quality is important, because now people are trying to understand. You rather produce the best honey, and everybody knows, maybe, oh, Emmanuel produces the best honey, and then you set your price. But also depends on the packaging. If it's a quality honey and then you package it in a substandard reuse container, that doesn't bring the value. So probably the issue of quality honey and then good packaging will make you probably get a premium price when you sell it. Then how do we guarantee that the beehives colonize? One, there are things that you need to put in your hive, new hives when you are setting up. Like, for example, beeswax, the smell attracts the bees in the hive. The lemon grass is also very good. And then other local materials that people are using within their location. But the other thing, like I said before, is opportunity to start breeding bees for sale. So that these issues of people raising, how do I get bees in my hive? How do I get my hives colonized? Will become a history. Then issues of eucalyptus as the best forage for the bees, brings the best honey. Yes, eucalyptus the flowers is very good. It's light, and it brings a light honey, and light honey is demanded in the export market. So that's true. If you have eucalyptus and then you put your hive under them, your chances of colonization is very high. Your quality is also very good. So with experience, I have some of my hives under eucalyptus trees too. So this is actually something that you can integrate with beekeeping, integrating with agroforestry, eucalyptus. Yeah, I think basically those are the few questions that came. Ronald, I hope I have not skipped any.
Yeah, I think that's about, yes, Robert, I think you have addressed them. There are a couple of others. If any other person has a question, please raise your hand and share. We have a question from Deogracious, who is the CEO of Honey Times Uganda. His question is, how do we access credit from UDB and Enterprise Uganda? I think we'll address that. I'll answer the Enterprise Uganda part. How to attract youth into the sector, because my observation is that it's dominated by old people. I think you can make a comment on that, Robert. How do we attract young people into the sector? It appears to be dominated by old people, according to Deogracious. Madame Kadama is saying, if my hive is within a mango tree, can you advise on what insecticides I should use to spray the mangoes? I have been told that spraying crops is not good if one has a hive around. I think that's a clear question. Can honey work as a preservative for beverages? If I make juice, can I preserve it with honey? That's from Dennis. Yes. Deogracious has said that if you're interested in colonies, please contact him. He can help with that. He's also in the honey business. Anyone else who's in the honey business, please just drop so that people can be able to engage with you. What other plants are good for forage? Is bamboo good for honey? That is from Feli. Kigwe, you can unmute and ask your question, please.
Am I through? Am I clear? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ronald, for the opportunity. Thank you very much, Robert, for that presentation. Mine is just one question regarding venturing into apiary, that is keeping of bees. How many beehives should I plan for to qualify for commercial beekeeping?
Okay, good. Thank you, Kigwe. That's a very clear question. Robert, I'll add one and then you come in and then we'll possibly take one final round. This is from Mr. Iga. Thanks, Robert. You have grown over time. How did you finance your growth? How did you finance your growth? And especially, how did you finance the growth of the business? You have been in this sector for a while. How have you managed to finance it? Verena says you can get tax exemption if a member is of Tunado. I benefited once. I don't know if it's still so. Yeah, that is the benefits of being a member. She said she benefited once, possibly. I don't know whether it's still on, but that's why associations are good. Robert, over to you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah. One issues of accessing credit. I think this still come back to you as an entrepreneur or as a business. You need to set your house in system. You need to put your records well, financials, production, sales, audited reports, business plans, projections, financial projections. And if you have this clearly, I think when you go to a credit institution, they'll be able to see how to support you. Personally, my experience with UDB, Uganda Development Bank, they actually look at those kind of documents. If you have policies, you have audited reports, business plan, your business projections, and then you can contact them. They're doing a lot in agricultural financing now. And I think they're giving money that can support you to grow. And the interest rate is actually low. So I think you could try that. Then how to attract youth in the sector. I think there should be a mindset change as well. Because there are youth who graduate and then they think they can stay in Kampala, they can stay within the town, they want to do collar job. But of late, you've seen the population growth has stimulated growth in farming enterprises. The consumption is going high. And I think I see a big opportunity in agriculture for young people. Big opportunity in agriculture for young people. Because when they have the energy, they're still fresh, they can run around. So the other thing is support from private sector, government. I think there's a lot of intervention which is now targeting young people into apiary. So, but like I said, you need to strategize. You need to place yourself well, okay? You need to start something because they will not come and then start you up. You need to start something. Personally, I started keeping bees like Mr. Iga is saying, I work with him sometimes back. I started it when I was about 20 years old. And I started with 2 colonies. You guys could read my stories in the newspaper. And it supported me to pay my school fees. They supported me to reach where I am. So I think it's possible for youth, for young people to go into apiary. But I think now you need to be more entrepreneurial. Your mindset, your business planning, you should plan well. You need to go into apiary as a business. So what do you need to do apiary as a business? So you need a skills, you need an exposure, you need a benchmarking visit to people who are successful, to learn from their experience, to learn from their challenges, how did they address their challenges. So I think it's important for young people to learn, to visit people who've done it, to share so that they can share their experience and knowledges. But also, the government should see how to support youth. I understand that Enterprise Uganda sometimes back was promoting a best business plan for youth. So the best business plans should be awarded startup capital. So I think the government, the private sector still has a big role to play there. If they could bring some programs that can attract youth into agriculture, I understand many youth could go into agriculture. The challenge is the youth normally ask is the working capital. I think the working capital is important, but what is most important is the idea you have. The idea can generate for you money, but money cannot generate for you idea. So I think we need to have a good idea, a good business cases, and probably like now we have diversified hive products. Basically people are looking at honey, but now you can look at bee venom powder. It's highly paid. A gram is about 50,000 farm gate. Beeswax, about 15,000 per kilogram farm gate. Pollen is about 30,000 per kilogram farm gate. Okay, and then colonies, selling colonies, maybe a box you could sell about 50,000. So I think basically the youth need to understand the current trend, understand where they want to go, put up a very good business case, business proposals, and then eventually, because the environment is already conducive, and then probably you need to register your businesses with authorities like Uganda Registration Service Bureau. You need to get the trading permits, something like that, so that you are well placed for any opportunity which is coming up. The other thing is also passion, commitment to what you want to do. I had a lot of passion in bees. I think it has taken me this far because of my passion and commitment. So I think you need to go for what you think is best for you. And then you get the skills, you learn, you visit those who made it, and then I feel the youth can go well. Then one of the question was, we'll put our hives within a mango tree garden, and then sometimes we are spraying it. Yeah, chemicals kill the bees. If you spray your mangoes, the bees will go to forage. The bees will go to pick the flowers. They'll pick the chemicals. The chemicals will kill the bees after some specific period. But also the honey they're going to produce is not going to be organic honey. My advice is late evening, the bees don't fly. So probably spraying your mango garden in the late evening is appropriate, because that period of evening up to morning when bees start flying, the level of the chemicals would have reduced by maybe about 80 or 85%. I'm not a specialist in that, but I think it's better to spray late evening so that for a period of that bees coming up to morning to start flying, foraging, the level of the chemical is greatly down. But the other thing is to gazette or do organic agriculture, organic spraying. I understand some people are using chili grounded, and then it's made into liquid. I think it's watery, then you spray it with your plant. I'm not an expert on that, but I think some people are using chili for, and then there's also very many methods for organic spraying. Maybe next time, if there's the expo, which is organized by New Vision and DFCU, you should visit, because there are a lot of technologies and all these kind of things. Would be a learning platform for you. For this year, it has passed, but maybe next year. I think this advice goes to everybody. If there's an expo, agricultural expo, please go and visit, go and learn, go and ask, go and see what people are doing. I think you will learn much from there. Then can honey work as a preservative? Yes, honey is a natural preservative. Try it in your juice and all, like even in the wine we make, honey is there in it. Then Deo Gracious, thank you for promoting honey. let's encourage more people to come on board. And then plant for forages. There are very many plants. Those one which is farmed, like sunflower, simsim, soya, they're there. Avocado, oranges, mangoes, calandra, lucena, moringa. There are so many. So I think also it's important for us to integrate agroforestry into our system because of issues of climate change, population pressure, spraying of farms. So I think we need to do much of organic farming. Then how many beehives can I start at a commercial level? From 20 with modern hive KTB, 20 of them is about 2 million, okay? 2 million, colonization rate is about 80%. So that means out of the 20 hive, 80% of the hive will colonize. And then on minimum, you can get between 10 kilograms, minimum, but maximum can be 15 or 20 kilograms. So from the 18, that's 180 kilograms of honey, and times 10,000, that's 1.8. So, but also for you to get the good yield from honey, you know, bees survive on two things, flowers and then water. So you need to have abundant forages for the bees. Now I have farmers with challenges. This area has few forages. It's putting 100 hives. When the forages around that area can only support 20 hives. So eventually you find your hives not performing well. So let's see how we can see the environment, the forages, and then the number of hives we are putting up. Probably need to do some assessment of how many flowering plants are there that is attracting the bees. Then that will determine how many hives you need to set in a location. I think that's one of the reasons why I put my hives in a clusters of 100 each in different locations. If I put maybe the 400 hive in one location, I could be having challenges with forage for the bees. But I decided to cluster them so that the bees have got enough forages. And then how did I finance my growth, Mr. Iga? Yeah, I think it's a long story, but to cut it short is I'm passionate about what I'm doing. I'm passionate about what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing. I had to go through a number of trainings. Enterprise Uganda is one of them. That really supported me about 10 years ago. Then persistent commitment to what you're doing. There are challenges, but I think you need to work smart. Some of our products are market driven. So then you need to produce what the market wants. Don't produce what you think is good. Produce what you think the market needs. And then you'll always attract clients. Then the other thing is about setting your house in system, having business plan, the audited reports of account, networking and collaboration. Actually, I participated in a number of fellowship programs, which had me cash prizes, so I could invest them in my business. Like currently, I have over 8 fellowship programs, and it comes with a reward. So that has also supported me to close up the gap in finances. And then the other thing is getting loans from the bank. You cannot run away from the loans, but depends on how you plan to utilize your loan. If you have a business, please get the loan and then put in the business. Don't divert it. And then put system in place. Pay yourself, okay? Don't just speak it because you're a CEO, you're MD, you pick any money you want. So I pay myself. I'm part of a team in the company, and we are colleagues, we work together. So I think that has also contributed to my success. And then networking and collaborations. attending exhibitions, regionally, locally, internationally. You make friends, you get market, and then that has actually supported me. And then currently, opportunities with NGOs, private sectors, it's enormous. So I think you need to keep tuned. You need to be alert on newspapers, what is happening where do you have any opportunities, maybe to apply for social impact. And then also my business model, I think, contributed, because my business model is social impact, smallholder farmers model. So I could track NGOs who want to work with farmers into apiary to work through me. They support my company, they support me to empower more farmers, to train more farmers, to create more market for the farmers. So I think your business model also is important, the business model you have taken. Then the products, I had to diversify. I had to do training, I do product sales, I do equipment. So diversifying also supported me, because sometimes maybe I don't have product, but I can do training to get some income. Like currently, we are setting up if you want to do an apiary, we set it for you at a fee. We do feasibility study at a fee. So some of this diversified source of income supports your product. So then I've seen a lot of questions coming out, but I cannot follow all. But maybe when I get back to the chat, my brands are African Queen Honey and then Lion Premium Honey. I've seen somebody ask that. Yeah, thank you. I get back to Ronald.
All right, great. Our time has run out. I want to just say a big thank you. Robert, there is a last question from James here. What is the best material to use in a smoker?
Okay. Yeah, the best material to use is, I'm not an expert on that, but it's a hard metal, which when it's heated, it does not burn. Thank you.
All right. Great. Thanks a lot. Thanks everyone for joining us today. We just have a couple of minutes left. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who has joined our session today. I want to say a big thank you to Robert, who has shared from his heart, from his experience. We have seen that this particular value chain has a number of unexploited opportunities. I think there are a couple of numbers which came out, which I hope can challenge those of us who want to enter the business, those of us who are in the business to possibly even do more. The fact that 70% of even local honey is imported. It's such a big number when you think about it. The fact that we are an agricultural country, yet 70% of the honey is imported. The fact that most are small scale, and Robert has helped us appreciate that there are opportunities at almost all levels, at honey production, at bulking level, at transportation.
Excuse me. Can I come in?
Yes, James.
I meant the material that produces the smoke.
Oh,
Not
the material that produces the smoke, not the... Robert, do you want to go for that?
Oh, sorry, I missed out, Ronald.
No, I think James was asking that material. What do you burn inside the smoker? What material produces the smoke?
Okay, you could use timber or rice ashes. And the smoke
ashes.
should be and timber, but the smoke should be minimum, because when it's too much, then the smoke will goes into the honey, and then the honey will smell smoky.
Oh, okay. Super. So rice husks or timber cuttings.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, but there are farmers in the villages that they use cow dung, dry cow dung. But if you're using dry cow dung, you need to put fresh leaves on top of the dry cow dung. So when you're smoking it, Yeah, because it's the smoke from the dry cow dung is very strong. But also it makes the bees calm down. It cuts the communication between the bees and the queen, because the queen will make instruction for the bees to attack, but the smoke will cut the instruction. So then the bees will be calm for you to work with them.
Super.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Robert. Yeah, a big thank you to everyone who has joined us. There are a number of ideas which came out here. And please, Robert has shared his contact. Do engage with him. I know it's not only Robert who is in the honey business here. Please, if you are in the honey business, share your contact. I think Deogracius mentioned a bit earlier that is in the business. A couple of other people are. Please do post your contacts in the chat room, so that those of us who would want to get into this business, we can be able to engage at that level. So please do share your contacts in the chat room. Once again, a big thank you to each and every one of you who has taken off time to join us today. We usually end at about 10:30. We're just a couple of minutes over. A big thank you to Robert for your sharing, for the wonderful presentation you have made. Please do give Robert a shout out in the chat room to just say thank you for the work which he has done, a hand clap or something. He has really opened our eyes to this industry. I think one of the things which for me is always encouraging is the fact that even amidst the challenging times we are in, we still see that there are windows, there are opportunities that can be seized. Robert is available in this space. As he has shared his contact. Please reach out to him, reach out to the other people who are in this business. Don't hesitate to reach out to them. Let's work together to be able to grow our businesses, to be able to transform the community in which we are, to be able to create the jobs, to be able to give value to our customers. Thanks a lot once again. Have a lovely week. I will keep the meeting open for any final comments which people want to make. A big thank you and all the best during the week. Let's keep pushing. Let's keep transforming our businesses slowly by slowly, so that we can be able to not only get value out of our work, but to be able to transform our nation. Thanks a lot, and we'll meet again next Thursday.
Ushifishi ukonga ifya kusenda no kusana pia na pachete mwiko chale saome Shalo shima wama Osas konkeza Uzavera mochave Shalo shima wama Osas konkeza Uzavera mochave Shalo shima wama Osas konkeza Uzavera mochave Kapena ni moa Kapena ni faka Chamene chaono ngama tuba pasiko ya Zambia Kapena ni ndalama Kapena ni pressure Chaono ngamitima zantu amushe pano pasiko Tapinda muka Atitachenjereza Notaya mapuziso yose anatipasa Yehova Shalo shima wama Osas konkereza Uzavera mochave Shalo shima wama Osas konkereza Better